Alrighty then, let's get started. Click it, okay, yeah. So, you're into web dev, and okay, first I'll do a little bit of revision, then we'll move on to the exercises. Right. Uh, so, presentation, formatting text, yes. Decorators, changing capitalization, spaced out text shadow. No. I think, yeah. I think I was, yeah. Text indent. Yep, I was on selectors. Specificity, yes. Okay, so ID selectors. Lower right class selectors. Okay. Contextual and individual element selector by ID. Okay. So I read different types of, okay, universal selectors. Yeah, child selector, adjacent selector, general sibling selector, and I also had descendant selector. Okay, so we can this ordered list all element which are embedded in a anchor and then are in embedded. Okay, so this is grouped selector. Okay, so element selector is this, group selector is this, and this is descendant selector. Okay, and then we have ID selector which we can access by using this octothrop or hash, and then since these are unique, we can singly use this. And can use part. Okay, in this example you should be beginning the powerful. Okay, hash links. Okay, in the example, a style is applied to only li elements that appear within elements identified as links. Okay, only elements who are identified okay, which are under li. Okay, in this example, it only li elements that appear within the element identifies as links. Okay, in this way you can treat list items in the element named links differently than all other list items on the page without any additional markup. Next, then we have class selector with the dot symbol. Okay, so paragraph in the class symbol or everything in the class symbol. Omit the element name. You can target element belonging to same class. You guessed it, class selector, the universe selector, and we have this. Okay, this is individual. This is element selector, right? Individual. Then we have contextual selector, which are more specific. I think this. Okay. In this example, p elements that appears block quote have a smaller line height than ordinary paragraphs. Okay, however, all paragraphs in class of intro will have 2 em line height. Color RGB, or you can provide a hex code. Shorthand property. Okay. Font weight. Font. Yes. Okay. So let's continue with our exercise number 12.6 using selectors. Let me copy this. Then we this time we'll add a few more style rules using descendant, ID and class selectors combined with the font and color properties we've learned about so far. I like to add some color to the new item. Okay, elements next to certain menu items, they are marked up as strong, so we can apply the color property to strong element and add this rule. Okay, so font style italic and color maroon. Add this rule to save the file and reload it in the browser. Okay. So we have strong italic, then we add color maroon, and that is it. Then I want to see how it looks before and then how it will look after. Okay, here's then these new item will be in maroon. There we go. Okay, then that worked, but now the strong element, very spicy. Okay, oh yeah, very spicy is also okay. Strong element, very spicy in the description is maroon too, and that's not what I want. The solution to this is to use a contextual selector that targets only the strong that appears in DT element. Remove the color declaration we just wrote from the strong rule and create a new rule that targets only the statement within the definition list terms DTs. Okay, so we remove it here. Then we go DT. Within DT, okay, I would need to make a new rule. DT, all the element in DT should have a color maroon. So let's load and let's see this. Okay, so now only these are in maroon and this is regular. Okay, look at the document source. You will see that the contents have been divided into 3 unique divs: info, appetizers and entrees. Okay, let me see div info, then div appetizer and div entrees. Right, okay. We can use these to our advantage. See, div id info, yes, id. Okay, we can use these to our advantage when it comes to styling. For now, let's do something simple and make all the text in the header teal. Okay, because color inherits, we only need to apply property to the div and it will be passed down to h1 and p. Okay, but we only want it to be p, sorry, h1. Okay, for now let's do something simple and make all the text in the header teal. Okay, but we will go step by step. So we go hash info and then I want the color to be teal. Then in the info section we have all the color teal, but I only want that the header in the id teal, in the id info be teal, right? So we will add an h. Now let's get a little fancier and make the paragraph inside the header italic in a way that doesn't affect other. Okay, so paragraphs on the page, again a contextual, but this is not teal, right? The current state is the intro. Okay, sorry, italic, but I only want the paragraphs to be teal, but you didn't do that, didn't you? Again a contextual selector is answer. This rule doesn't affect others. Again a contextual selector is the answer. This rule selects only paragraph contained within the info section of the document. Okay. Info style. Okay, so I should remove this property is inherited. I only want the paragraph, so I'll go P, then I'll go font style italic, and there we go. Okay, I want to give special treatment to all the prices on the menu. Fortunately, they have all been marked up with span element. Span. Okay, so we can define span. Okay. So now all we have to do is write a rule using a span class selector to change the font to Georgia or some serif font, make them italic and gray them back. Okay, so this is good stuff. Alright, my eye is not right. Okay, so we can go dot price. So everything with the class price will have this. Dot price. So I want the font family to be Georgia serif, font to be Georgia and serif, then font style to be italic, and not font color, simple color to be gray. That's all. Yes. So let's check out. There we go. Okay. And you go similarly, I can change the appearance of the text in the header that has been marked up as belonging to label. Okay, appearance in the header. Label. Where is label? There we go. Label. Okay, class Rs Monday. Expand label. Label. Okay, Rs Monday through Friday. Okay, and it was in a P, so I can change these. Okay, similarly I can change, make it bold, variant small caps, and font style normal instead of italics. Okay, so we just info, right? ID selector. So in the P, but we are specifying that this belongs to a class. So according to here, ID selector are more specific and will override class selectors, which are more specific than contextual. So when we use class selectors, won't it override? Right, class label. We'll go dot label. Then I go font family. What do you do with that? Say font weight bold. Then font style is normal. Yeah, okay, so we didn't. Okay, so we are overwriting a property of font italics. Okay, P, but we are not targeting P, we are targeting a class. Okay, so class selectors have more preference than contextual selectors because we are not targeting the direct ID. Okay, right. Okay, so let me just add even though we used we styled the P elements in the section with ID info, it won't, it will be overridden. What is the spelling of overridden? Oh, overridden. Okay, it will be overridden, styled ID styled. Okay, I'm a suggestion. No suggestion. even though we styled the p elements in the section with id equals info, it will be overwritten by the class selector because it was done using the contextual selector which will which don't have much specificity. Okay, great. So just need to squeeze it here, and there we go. Great. Okay, so font variant small caps, and I have a font variant small caps. Let's see the effects. Okay, then finally there is a small warning at the bottom of the page. Finally there is a small warning at the bottom of the page that I want to make small and red. Okay, it has been given class warning. Okay, so I can go font extra small and color red, but this is not right. Mess up. So I can use that as a selector to target just that paragraph for styling. While I'm at it, I'm going to supply the same style to sub element, the footnote asterisk sub element. Where is the sub? I have the warning. Okay, and this is sub. Okay, this sub element. So we use a group selector here, right? Earlier, note that I've used a group selector, so I don't need to write a separate rule for those. So it will be font size small and color is red. Okay, so we go. I have a okay, so I want a paragraph belonging to class warning. So I go here and the element sub. Sub. Okay, what is sub? It is sub. What does sub do? Okay, superscript. Yes, sorry, my bad. Superscript. Okay, let's give it a little space. This is very clumsy. Maybe if we could just enter it in one line, right? Just send it here, bro. Then we have this info, then price label. Then I have a grouped selector with paragraph belonging to class warning and the sub element, which I want to give a font size of extra small and a color of red. Right, I did right. Font size extra small and a color of red. Okay. Space it like this, and we should be done. Right, this right here. We are required to warn you that undercooked food is flavorful curd skin marinated in grilled ice. We are required to warn you that undercooked food is a health risk. Right. Okay. There we go. Why did I do this? Thank you. Okay, then we have text line adjustments. Right later on. Okay. The next batch of text properties has to do with treatment of whole lines of text rather than the shape or characters. Okay. They allow web authors to format web text with indents, extra spaces uh, between the lines, leading, okay, and different horizontal alignment similar to print. Okay, line height. The line height property defines the minimum distance from baseline to baseline in text. Let me just sorry, what happened to this? Okay, let's continue. The line height property defines the minimum distance from baseline to baseline in text. We saw it earlier as a part of the shorthand font property. Okay. A baseline is an imaginary line upon which the bottoms of characters sit. Okay. Line height in CSS is similar to a leading in traditional typesetting, although the line height is calculated from baseline to baseline. Most browsers split the extra space above and below the text, thus centering it in the overall line height. Okay, in figure 1214, I don't know where are these. Okay, 1213. The line height property is set to specify a minimum distance because if you put a tall image or a large character on a line, the height of that line will expand to accommodate it. Line height. Okay, so we have line height, values are number, length measurement, percentage, normal. Okay, default is normal, applies to inherits, yes. Okay. These examples show 3 different ways to make the line height twice the size of the font size. Okay, so it will be double, and then it will make the halves. Like I understand. Like if this is my, hold up, I think I can. Can I draw a line? No. Are you sure? I cannot draw a line. Okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, anyways, so let's say that we have. Okay, let me just draw. Let's say I have this character A, and I want to baseline twice. So this is its half. Then we take this half. So we duplicate this half over here, and then we duplicate this half over here, and then these are our lines. Shit. Man. Okay. Centers the text. Right. Okay, to make the line height twice the line height 2 twice the font size. Okay. And we have line height 2 and at 2 em of the parent, so parent will be right for the paragraph, then a line height 200%. Okay. When a number is specified alone, as shown in the first example, it acts as a scaling factor that is implied by the current font size to calculate the line height value. Okay, line heights. Okay, right. Line height can also be specified in one of the CSS length units, but once again the relative EM is your best bet. Okay. EMs and percentage values are based on the current font size and the size of the element. In the 3 example, if the text size is 16, the calculated line height would be 32 pixels. Okay. Right, this is the baseline, then it chops, duplicates this half and this half. Right. Size 1 em for this text, it is relative. Line height set to 2 em, twice the text size. The extra space is divided equally above and below the text line, centering it vertically in the line height. Okay. Then we have, did I have any notes and all? No, no notes. So then we have, I think, okay, then I have this indents. The text indent property indents the first line of the text by a specified amount. First line of a text only. See the note. Okay. The text indent property indents just the first line of a block. If we want space along the whole side of the text block, use one of the margin or padding properties to add it. Yeah. Designers may be accustomed to specifying indents and margins in tandem, but to be consistent with how CSS handles them, margins will be discussed as a part of box model. Okay, here, right. We have text indents, applies to block level element, table cells and inline blocks. Okay. You can specify a length measurement or percentage value for text indent. Percentage values are calculated based on the width of the parent element. Here are a few examples. Okay, TEM 25%, P 3 minus 35 pixels. Okay, 25%, 2EM double minus 35 pixels. Okay. When we go paragraph 1, the text indent property indents only the first line of a text by a specified amount. You can also specify a length measurement and percentage value. Paragraph 2, the text indent property indents only the first line of text, okay, by 25%. Example of text indent property, right? Okay, so this is 2M. Okay, only the first line, so this is to the character. Okay, by 25% of the whole paragraph. Okay, so 25%. Here the indent is 25% of the whole paragraph length. That's why. Then just says 2em, and em is for the text, right? Length measurement percentage inherit by specified amount. Measurement 2em, that is equivalent to 2em. This should be 200%, but minus 35 pixels. It is shifted to the left, minus 35%. Okay, 25%. Okay. In the third example, notice a negative value was specified, and that's just fine. It will cause the first line of the text to hang out to the left of the, also called a hanging indent. The text indent property inherits, but it is worth noting that the calculated values are passed on to descendant element. So if a div is set to 800 pixels wide with a 10% indent, a text indent of 80 pixels will be passed down, not the 10% value to, okay, 800 pixels wide and with a 10% indent, the text indent of 80 pixels will be passed, not the, okay, Design. If you use a hanging indent, be sure that there is also a left margin applied on the element. Otherwise, the hanging text may disappear off the left edge of the browser window. Alright. 2 a.m. Percentage, right? 1 equals to 1, I guess size of one paragraph. P can be fit here, right? Well, horizontal alignment. So this is text indent. Text indent. Let me try this season text indent 2 em, right? Let me put, where is the P? Only P. Okay. P text indent 2 em. Okay, so let me see this, right? So they are all shifted to the left, and if I do this, bro, aren't you gonna come back? That is not right. I have marked it sorry. Okay, yeah, so now they are on to the left. 2 em, right? So okay, then we move on to horizontal alignment. You can align text for web pages just as you would in a, okay, nice, block level tables of inline blocks. Okay, a block like a paragraph, article, a section. This block in line within those one. This is a fairly straightforward property to use. The result of the ways text align are here: left, right align, to the left, align to the center, and justified. Okay. Okay, so text align. Right, the CSS3 text module defines two new related properties: text align last for aligning the last line of the text, and text justify for more fine-tuned control over how space is inserted in just text, but they are not well supported as of this writing. Okay. Right. Good news, only 4 more text properties to go, then we'll be ready to try a few of them in the Black Goose Bistro menu. Okay. Underlines and other decorations. Okay, I think this size is better. Right. Okay. Got to drink water. Okay, let's continue. So, underlines and other decorations. If you want to put a underline over or through the text, or if you'd like to turn the underline off under links, the text decoration is the property for you. Oh, nice. The value for text decoration are intuitive and shown here. Okay. So we have underline, overline, then we have line through, and blink makes text flash on and off. Okay. Okay. So inherits no, but since lines are drawn across tiled elements, they may look like they are decorated too. Okay. Underline. Okay. So text values none, underline, overline, line. Okay. Default is none. And decorated too. Okay. The most popular use of the text decoration property is turning off the underlines that appear automatically under the shown here. Okay. There are a few cautionary words to be said regarding text decoration. First, if you get rid of the underlines under links, be sure there are other cues to compensate, such as color and weight. Okay. On the flip side, because underlines are such a strong visual cue to click here, underlining text that is not a link may be misleading and frustrating. Consider whether Alex may be an acceptable alternative. Finally, there is no reason to make your text blink. Don't do that. Internet Explorer won't support it anyway. Okay. Right. The CSS3 text module includes enhancements to text decoration, including text decoration line, text decoration color, text decoration style, and text decoration skip, and text underline position. But they are still fairly experimental of this writing. Okay. Changing capitalization. I remember when desktop publishing program included a nifty feature that let me change the capitalization of text on the fly. Okay, I'm dating myself here. Okay. This made it easy to see how my headlines might look in all caps later without needing to retype them. CSS includes this feature as well. Okay. On the fly. Text transform property. Okay, so we have capitalized, lowercase, uppercase, and it inherits to all elements. Okay. When you apply the text transform property to a text element, it changes its capitalization when it renders without changing the way it is typed in the source. Okay. When you apply the text transform property to a text element, when you apply the text transform property to a text element, it changes its capitalization when it renders without changing the way it is typed in the source. Okay. Why did I do that? I feel bad. Text transform none, capitalize, lowercase, uppercase. Capitalize the first letter of each word. Oh. Okay. Okay, so this is none. This is capitalized, this is lowercase, and this is all uppercase. Okay, spaced out. The final two text properties in this chapter. Am I there? Okay, spaced out and text shadows. Nice. Okay. The final two text properties in this chapter are used to insert space between letters, letter spacing, or words. Word spacing when the text is displayed. Okay, so we have letter spacing, length measurement, normal, inherit, yes, and word spacing, length measurement, normal, inherit. Shit. Yeah. Alright. So we go. The letter spacing and word spacing properties do what they say. Add space between the letters of the text or words in a line, respectively. Shows the results of these rule examples applied to the simple paragraph shown here. Okay, so letter spacing and word spacing. Right, so 8 pixels. It is worth noting that when you specify EM measurements, the calculated size is passed down to child element even if they have smaller font size than the parent. Okay. In XSpL7, we'll make one last trip at Black Bistro menu to add some of these new properties and make a few tweaks. Okay. Text shadows. Drop shadows that make text and graphic elements pop from the page have become all the rage over the last decade. Now, there is a way to add a drop shadow to text using CSS alone with the text shadow property. Text shadows are drawn behind the text but in front of the background and border if there is one. Okay, text shadows are supported by all current browsers and okay, there we go. Okay. The value of the text shadow property is up to 3 measurements: a horizontal offset, a vertical offset, and an optional blur radius. Okay, optional horizontal offset and a color. So we have text shadow is a 0.2 horizontal offset. Okay, 2. A vertical offset means it is down. Okay, so negative means it moves to the left and up, and positive means it moves to the right and down. Okay, and the color. Okay. The first value is a horizontal offset that positions a shadow to the right of the text. A negative value pulls the shadow to the left. The second measurement is a vertical offset that moves the shadow down by specific amount. Negative moves it up. The declaration ends with a color specification. Silver. If the color is omitted, the same color as text will be used. That should give you an idea for how the first two measurements work, but that sharp shadow doesn't look very well. Okay, so this is with a blur radius. Okay. Very well. What it needs is a blurred radius. 0 is no blur, and blur gets softer with higher values. Okay. Usually you just have to fiddle with these values until you get the blur. 0. Okay, so there we go. You can apply even more than one shadow to single text element when you want more than one shadow. When more than one shadow is listed, okay, the first one in the list is rendered first and subsequent shadows are layered behind it in the defined order. You can also make text appear to glow by positioning a colored shadow. Ooh, nice. This is cool. A bloom effect, little. Okay, raised look. This is showing shadow minus white. So this looks like this is raised, and this looks like it is embossed. For a raised look, position a light shadow above, okay, and a dark shadow below the text using tiny offsets. Bro, this is the coolest thing I saw today. Nice. How cool is that? So go have fun with some shadow text, but be careful not to overdo it. Not only can drop shadows make text difficult to read, but adding a shadow to everything can slow down page performance, scrolling, mouse interactions, etc. Okay, which is particularly problematic for mobile browsers without much processing power. Right. Important. In addition, be careful that your text doesn't require a shadow in order to be visible. Folks with non-supporting browsers won't see a thing. My advice is to use drop shadows as an enhancement in a way that isn't critical if they don't appear. And speaking of non-supporting browsers, what about Internet Explorer version 9 and earlier? Won't know what to do with text shadow property, but there are workarounds. The following articles, both by Zoltan. Okay, recommend no. Okay, and we have other text properties. In the interest of saving space and keeping this an introductory level book, these properties were not given the full treatment, but being the type of author who doesn't hold anything back, I'm including here. Vertical align, baseline, sub, super, top, top. Okay, specifies the vertical alignment of inline text element baseline relative. Okay, it is used to see vertical. Nice. White space, well is normal, pre, now no wrap, pre-wrap, pre-line. Specifies how white space in the element source is handled in layout. For example, pre-values preserves the character spaces and returns found in sources similar to pre. Okay, pre, right, pre-formatted. Visibility, visible hidden collapse inherit. Used to hide the element. When set to hidden, the element is invisible, but the space it occupies is maintained, leaving a hole in the content. The element is still there, you just can't see it. Okay, I think these should be. Now it is green. Wow, nice. Okay, then we have text direction, left to right, right to left. Specifies the direction in which text reads, left to right and right to left. Oh, this is important for those Arabic languages. Okay, then we Unicode bidirectional. Related to bidirectional features of Unicode, the recommended states that it allows the author to generate level of embedding. I don't know, man. Font size adjust, values number none. This is a fairly complicated new system of sizing text element based on x height, the height of lower x, to ensure consistency even when fallback fonts are used. Okay. Explain the rest. Ah, shit. Okay, I don't think it's that interesting, so we'll go. Finishing touches. Let's add a few finishing touches to the online menu.html. So we'll go back, we'll create a new file, XSL 0.7. Okay, first, browser each step to see the effect of edits and make sure you're on track. The finished style sheet is provided in appendix. First, I have a few global changes to the body element in the mind. I've had a change of heart about the font family. I think that a serif font such as Georgia would be more sophisticated and appropriate for a bistro menu. Okay, so we want a Georgia. And then use the line height property to open up the text lines and make them easier to read. Make sure these updates to the body style rule are known. Okay. Okay, so we go to the body and we want Georgia. And just serif. Font size 100. Font size is small. I think I'll keep it to 100%. That's much better. Then I have a line height of 1.75. Yeah. Ooh, shit. Okay. So that's no problem. See, I'll open this up. This is how it 12.6 looks, and then now this is how everything looks. Okay, so there's 1.75. All right. And if I add font size to small instead of 100%, what happens now? This is so small. Okay. I also want to redesign the header section of the document. Remove the teal color by deleting that whole row. Once that is done, make the H1 purple and the paragraph in the header gray. Okay. You can adjust color decorations in the existing row. Okay. So we want H1 to be color purple and P to be gray. Let's see the changes. Purple and this is gray, right? Next, to imitate a fancy print menu, I'm going to center a few key elements on the page text line property. Write a rule with a grouped selector to center the heading and the info section. Okay, so that would center them. H1, H2 and info with center. H1, H2 and info. We have text align center. Let's see this. They are in the center. Yeah, I want to make the appetizer and main course H2 kinds of special. Instead of large bold type, I'm going to use all uppercase letters, extra letter spacing and a color to call attention and a color to call attention to the headings. Here are a few new rules. Okay, so we text uppercase, then we letter spacing between the letters. Okay, so there will be spaces between the letters. Font size is as per the parent, right, of the parent. So font size 1 EM, that of the parent. Okay, and color purple. Okay. Then we have font size 1 EM. Okay, I already have a so let's go and format this. Then I want text, not text align. I want text transform to be uppercase. Okay, transform to be uppercase. Then letter spacing to be 0.5 mm. Letter spacing to be 0.5 em, and finally color be purple. Let's see all these changes. Okay, yeah. We're really close now. Just a few more tweaks to the paragraph, to those paragraphs right after the H2 headings. Okay, so all adjacent sibling, select any paragraph that follows h2. Right. This method will not h2 plus text line center and font italic. Okay. h2 plus p text align center and font style italic. There we go. But I also want to dt elements. Now we're just with dt. Okay. Next, add a softer color. H1. Okay. Yeah, this looks really. This is better. Right. This is better now. Okay, next, add a softer color to the menu item in DT elements. I've chosen Sienna, one of the names from the CSS3 color module. Note that strong elements in DT elements stay maroon because the color applied to strong element overrides the color inherited by their parents, right? Inheritance. So DT font weight bold and we go color Sienna. Okay, have I already used DT bold and we have a color Sienna, right? Sienna, and let's see the effect. There we go. And finally for kicks, let's add a drop shadow under h1. Okay, h1 we have text shadow em. So this is horizontal shift, vertical offset, and then a blur, and then a light slate gray text color. Then shows how the menu looks now, an improvement over the unstyled version, and we only use text properties. Notice that we didn't touch a single character of the document markup in the process. That's the beauty of keeping style sheets separate from structure. Okay, so we want h1. We have defined h1. There we go. I want, let's bring it down. You can boogie down, 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 down. Color shadow is, peg shadow is 0.1 em, then 0.1 em, horizontal offset, vertical offset, then 0.2 em. This is the blur radius, and light slate gray. That is light slate gray. Okay, so let me just save these changes, and we save changes over here too, and let's take a look. Shadow. Right. Okay, so changing. Okay, so we'll continue later. So